Energy bills are already up 50% on what they were this time last year. And on the 1st of April, they're going up another 54%, which will take someone on typical usage to around £1,970 a year. That was unthinkable. But we're now nearly a month and a half through the 6-month assessment period for the next price cap in October. And even conservative estimates show that looking like it's going to rise again to over £3,000 on typical use. Now, that is clearly unaffordable for many people. And I'm afraid you asked me, what should people do about it? Well, you might be lucky enough to be one of the few people who has a fixed offer from your existing company that's not more than, say, 30% above the April price cap that you might want to look at. There are no cheap fixes on the open market that you can get. And what that does mean is, well, of course, using less and thinking about how much you use and when you top up your prepay and all those things can tinker at the edges. Actually, we're now at the position where asking a money-saving expert what to do isn't correct, and you need to ask the Chancellor, because only political intervention is going to help this.
The Chancellor set out a couple of measures to maybe perhaps cushion the blow. Will they do that?
Well, they'll help. Certainly the council tax rebate for those in Band A to D, that's £150 coming in April, is going to help. It's 150 quid. If you pay your council tax by direct debit, it will be paid automatically into your bank account. Now, that's useful. If you don't get it and you're struggling, you may be entitled to the discretionary fund, which each local council will have. The £200 loan not loan scheme is coming in October. I will be interested to see if that hasn't changed by the time we get to October. We have a spring statement coming towards the end of this month. I think the Chancellor is clearly, both morally and politically, has to do more to help people. The situation has got so much worse since February when he came up with those two schemes. I think we're likely to see more coming then.
And how much has the current conflict in Ukraine exacerbated the cost of living crisis?
It's difficult to quantify that. It's clearly made everything worse, what's happening in Ukraine. And I think it's justifiable to put some of the blame for the cost of living crisis in this country on that, but certainly not all of the blame. And we must be careful not to allow that to be said too often. I mean, if you look at the rises in energy bills, council tax, heating oil, mobiles, broadband, water bills, national insurance, fuel and food, all of those were rising before Ukraine. They are now rising even more rapidly. But we, as a society, must be quite careful not to stop putting everything at the door of Ukraine, because that allows an easy narrative of we must all suck it in to help the poor people in Ukraine, as if the entire thing that was going on is happening. We do need to help people in Ukraine. It's a desperate situation out there. There is going to be an impact on us because of the war that is happening. But certainly it is far from the sole cause of the huge inflationary pressures in the UK.
And finally, you mentioned fuel. We heard yesterday that petrol hit more than £2 a litre at some London forecourts. What's your take on that?
Well, the oil prices are at a record high. We hope that that will be improved soon. There needs to be negotiation on the worldwide oil market that I'll leave other people to talk about. The price of petrol is a direct knock-on of that. And of course, what people tend to do is they tend to look at the price when they fill up and think that's the cause and that's the real problem. Actually, that's a relatively small element. Pretty much most things that you buy, most food that you buy, most companies that you buy from, the huge rise in energy bills and fuel bills are going to be factored into their costs, and their costs are going to be factored into their prices, and that's what's driving this huge inflationary period. There are things people can do. Petrol forecourts don't have static pricing. Different forecourts have different prices. There are apps out there that can show you the cheapest forecourts. That's always very helpful. You can look at how you drive and drive more efficiently. Remember that the accelerator is a money burner. If you push it too hard and accelerate too quickly, it's going to cost you. The brake also burns money. I'm not saying don't brake when you need to, but think about road positioning so you can slow down gradually. Get roof racks off your car, empty your boot. All of those things will help at the edges, but they won't help in the mainstream.